A further 1.5 million self-preparer taxpayers, though, they're expected to need to lodge this year. So $313 every 28 days to a maximum of 5 times. So the fine could ultimately cost, a little under $1,600, but just get onto it now because you don't want to pay that. If you can avoid that fine, it'd be the wise thing to do. $313 every 28 days, up to 5 times. So you've only got a couple of days until the deadline comes around. 131873.
Live with Chris O'Keefe on 2GB.
Just a bit of cricket news. Matthew Wade has retired from international cricket. So the former wicketkeeper has decided that his time is over playing for Australia. And he was a World Cup winner with the T20 team in 2021. He turns 37 on Boxing Day. He played 36 test matches, 97 one-day internationals and 92 T20 internationals for Australia, and he also captained both the one-day and T20 side. So he'll still work as an assistant coach for the T20 side, the Australian side against Pakistan, but he says he's done with playing in the green and gold. Good on him anyway. He's been a good servant of the Australian cricket team in all different forms of the game on 31873. Just on Australia Post's executive bonuses, given that they are posting $100 million losses. Darren's been down. Hello, Darren.
G'day, how you going? I love your show. Yeah, look, honestly, I really think we've got to a point. Things run their course eventually. And Australia Post, with all the electronic mail and all that sort of stuff now, I know the packaging side of Australia Post is probably doing extremely well because everybody's buying online and that sort of stuff, but maybe it's time for it to go. And I said in an email, it's like the Australian car industry, and I think the unions had a lot to do with that. We can't keep flogging a dead horse. And that's it, and we've got to make other arrangements and stuff and make everybody, more savvy with the electronic side of what we need to do.
Well, Darren, do you believe that it's time that the Australian taxpayer sells Australia Post?
I believe so. I think it needs to go because it's such a strain on the Australian economy. Along with this.
I just worry if we do that there'll be parts of Australia, regional Australia, that private industry may not service if we did that. That's my only concern, but I'm sure they've looked at it before, Darren, but I appreciate your time. Michael's at Castle Hill. Hello, Michael.
Firstly, Chris, good point on regional Australia. They need to have some type of postal. But I'm just wondering if, and you might know better than me, I'm just wondering if the executives, they probably wouldn't have a KPI structure that they need to be accountable to, knowing the fact that the government's just going to keep funding Australia Post regardless.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. If you've got, you're talking about these big sort of statutory corporations. They're big business. If it was in private hands, you're talking big business. I'm sure they'd have KPI structures. I'm sure they'd have to hit them. My view is, if you lose money, you shouldn't get a bonus. It's truly as simple as that. You shouldn't be given a bonus for doing less worse than we thought you would.
Yeah, at some point, I'm sure previous listeners have said this already, at some point the government's got to stop bailing out Australia Post. Like it has to be has to be a resource that continues to run, but at the end of the day, it's just an endless pit. The taxpayers' dollars just keep going to it, and I just don't know what KPI structure must be in place because you're right, $100 of $1 million loss, and then a bonus going to the exec team. It just seems really weird.
Doesn't it? Good on you, Michael. Rob's at Mossman. Final call. Hello, Rob.
Yeah, they're interesting comments. However, I think they've lost sight, those two gentlemen, that it's a national and important public service. However, I'm a retired businessman. I was a rehab guy. I've got a great CV. I would do that chief executive job.
And then turn right.
The cost of the salary increase that he was just granted.
300 grand.
300 grand. I do it for 12 months. I give a report. I'd identify the massive waste of money that goes on there, paying this huge layer of middle management that do nothing. I'd probably give the post privatised. But it's an essential service. It has to
Get ready
change
to
at the
turn
time
right.
for bid, but it's got to continue.
Good on you, Rob. I think many would agree with you, and I'm not advocating
right,
by any stretch of the
and then
imagination
turn
to privatise or sell off Australia Post, albeit I understand where people are coming from with it. I just think that there will be pockets of
Turn
Australia
right.
that won't be serviced by mail and parcel delivery if it is privatised.
This is where it
My
ends.
view is that if you're posting losses, your executive team in an economic crunch shouldn't be getting bonuses. End of story.
A news update. Who's up for getting paid faster? SumUp is your payment partner for easy, on-the-spot sales paid directly into your bank account.
In the newsroom, Rhiannon's Solomon Marrick.
G'day, Chris. The government is putting aside more than
here we go.
$250 million to set up Australia's Centre for Disease Control after a report into the pandemic found a number of issues were poorly handled. A coroner has concluded Roger Rogerson received timely and appropriate medical care in the lead up to his death. The notorious former detective died of a stroke while serving a life sentence for murder. An investigation is underway into whether an e-bike battery is to blame for an intense fire which ripped through a home at East Lindfield, leaving a resident with burns to his arm and shoulder. And Volkswagen is closing 3 of its biggest factories in Germany, blaming cheap imports from China for a collapse in electric vehicle sales. In sport, the NBL has fined Illawarra Hawks coach Justin Tatum $3,000 for a post-game rant at match officials who he called incompetent. Chris, there'll be more news at 4.
Thank you, Ree. 131873, our open line number. Coming up, I'll speak to Sam Macedoni because did you know you can claim workers' comp if you hurt yourself when you're working from home? I'm not joking. There's a lady in South Australia who tripped over a puppy fence, broke her arm, and has just successfully claimed workers' comp. I've got to be joking.
Traffic. Your city, your local station. Sydney's 2GB.
Cow Pasture Road at Green Valley has a truck and car crash. It's in northbound lane 1 after Green Valley Road. Picton Road Cataract with an eastbound truck breakdown approaching the Princes Motorway. Outbound M5 traffic's beginning to build, and that includes coming out of the blocks from the airport tunnel to Cooks River Tunnel, and south of the airport it's getting pretty hard to love General Holmes Drive through Kiama. I'm Steve Carline with traffic every 10 minutes on Sydney's 2GB.
Whatever your retirement dreams are, Aware Super can help you find your new rhythm. Visit aware.com.au/retire today.
It's 27 to 4, and one of the secrets to ageing well is eating well. But unfortunately, many older Australians struggle to prepare healthy meals in their own home. And that's why Light and Easy has partnered with home care package providers to make it easier and more affordable for seniors to eat well. In fact, home care package recipients could save 70% off the cost of their Light and Easy meals. Light and Easy has also created a delicious new range of meals called My Choice, including dinners, soups, desserts, which have been specifically designed to meet the nutritional needs of all seniors with smaller appetites. So if you or someone you care for could benefit from Light and Easy's award-winning healthy meal delivery service, visit lightandeasy.com.au or give them a call, 13 15 12.
At Bloom's the Chemist, we don't look like a discount chemist, but we are a low prices chemist. Not a sometimes low prices chemist, an always low prices chemist. For always low prices you can always count on, better go to Bloom's the Chemist. Introducing Officeworks for Business. Sign up for a business account to save 5% on hundreds of essentials plus free standard metro delivery over $65. With over 170 stores, we're there when you need us. Search Officeworks for Business, exclusions apply.
Need to send money overseas? With Wise, you can send money overseas without any hidden fees. From dollars to dollars, pounds to pesos, euros to yen, you could save up 4 times compared to major banks. Send money with Wise in more than 40 currencies without getting ripped off. Download the Wise app today. Wise, the app for doing things in other currencies. Terms and conditions apply.
Celebrated British-Irish singer, songwriter and musician Chris de Burgh returns in 2025. The unmissable voice of the Lady in Red. Chris will play all his classic hits spanning his 50-year career. So miss Chris de Burgh live. Thursday, May 8 at Sydney Opera House Concert Hall. Tickets on sale now. Head to Frontier Tour amberflooring.com for details.
Get into Amber this spring with incredible offers like designer indoor and outdoor floor and wall tiles just $24.95. White wall tiles at crazy $14.95. Or marble mosaics just $11.95 each. Hurry, in-store or online.
Amber has the answer.
Meerkat Motivationals with Alexander and Sergey.
Hey, Pippa, taking your blood pressure?
Oh, yes. Good to keep it in check.
Same goes for health insurance. Check to see if you can get the same cover for less.
Same for less? Really?
Keep your finger on the pulse, Pippa. Wake up to West. Switching health insurance is easy. Visit Compare the Market to see the range of brands and products we compare. Or call 137336. Simples.
Drive on 2GB. Play Ready, Set, Peel and Win at Shell Coles Express and Shell Ready Express with over $46 million in prizes up for grabs. T's and C's apply.
Now, have you heard this story? Should you be able to claim workers' compensation if you hurt yourself while working from home? You would think no, right? But maybe that's not the case. This is going to blow your mind. So a council worker, this is in South Australia, she was working from home and she woke up in the morning. She made herself a cup of coffee and she tripped over a puppy fence that she'd erected inside her home. So she put this little puppy fence up. She's tripped over it and significantly hurt herself. She broke her arm and injured her knee. Now, because she was working, quote unquote, at the time, she claimed workers' compensation. And the ruling's been handed down in the South Australian Employment Tribunal, and the Deputy President found that the fall occurred during a, quote, authorised coffee break at her place of employment, her home. And they said this, quote, this was something the employee says she would have done had she been working in the office around the same time, as she did not have set times for short breaks over the course of her working day. So there you go, workers' comp if you're injured while you're in your own home working from home. According to the South Australians, that's absolutely fine. Well, Sam Macedoni is the principal at Macedoni Legal and he's on the line for us. Sam, this can't be real.
Look, I don't think it's correct. She's hurt while working at home. Let me put it this way. The puppy fence she put up was because she had arranged to look after a friend's dog. She didn't want the dog to get into the room where she was working because it would get to her rabbit. None of that's got anything to do with her work. So it's not a case where she was hurt because she was carrying on her duties of work, albeit at home as opposed to the office. She's actually had a fall because of something that's well and truly outside of the work arena.
Turn left.
Puppy fence and putting the dog that you're looking after to make sure it doesn't go to the rabbit. All of that's got nothing to do with her work. So she's not really injured during the course of her work or because of something that exists at her place of work that's normal. I mean, had she fallen over a bin or a chair or something at the office and broken a leg, she would have been covered. Had she done the same at home, she would have been covered. But because she fell over something she put up herself for her own benefit and not anything to do with her work, I don't think she should be covered.
Well, Sam, I find this really interesting. So if I'm working from home, for argument's sake, and I log on in the morning and I think, gee whiz, I need to use the loo very quickly. So you log off your Zoom meeting or whatever it is, and you happen to slip on some wet tiles and hurt yourself. Now, these are wet tiles in your own home. Are you saying because it's in the discharge of your responsibilities of the working day, you still should be able to be covered by workers' comp?
Yes, because you haven't done anything to create the problem. The problem is work.
Exit left.
Well, if it was that you work from home, you take the responsibility that your home environment is as good as your work environment. And let's face it, most times your home environment is much better than your work environment anyway. But where you create the problem and then trip over and hurt yourself, that's not the boss's responsibility. I mean, you're paid not to go fixing fences up and looking after your friend's dog. You're paid to work and not to put up structures that from home. I'm going to take a break, so I'll just go out in the balcony and I'll muck around with the dog out there. And then you fall over the balcony 5 metres down into the garden bed and break a couple of legs and a half. You can claim. Come on.
What happens if you decide, oh, well, I've got a bit of a quiet day today? Geez, that lawn could do with some mowing. And you fire up the lawnmower and run the Victor over your foot, but it's a quote-unquote work day. Can be covered by workers' comp there?
Well, under this situation, yes, because you're working from home and home was approved as a place of work. And you hurt while you're at your place of work.
It's funny, all these spin-offs, as we change the way we work, Sam, sorry to interrupt, all these spin-offs, and it's fascinating reading.
Well, it is, because, look, I think once you move away from the job you're paid to do, and you start doing something of your own volition or something that's personal to you, and you injure yourself, it's got nothing to do with your work.
Exit right.
And therefore you shouldn't be paid for that. If you're injured while you're doing your job, I understand you should be covered. But if you get injured by doing something that's not part of your job, then, you shouldn't be paid for it.
Sam Macedoni, I appreciate you coming on. As always, thanks so much.
Pleasure. Thank you,
He's a good man, Sam Macedoni, principal at Macedoni Legal. 131873. If you're working from home and you hurt yourself, should you be entitled to workers' comp? Or is it just one of those things whereby if you decide that that's what you want to do, you want to work in the comfort of your own home and your employer allows you to do it, should you say to yourself, okay, if I do this, I know I am not entitled to workers' comp because this is my house? Or, like what Sam said, is it up to the employer if they're taking on the responsibility and the risk if they allow their staff to work from home? Regardless, setting up puppy fences and tripping over them, breaking your arm and then going to the tribunal, I'd be embarrassed if I was that lady. I would. I couldn't do it I just could not do it. Couldn't bring myself to front the South Australian Employment Tribunal and argue this. 131873.
Traffic for spinaleze.com.au, the world's best premium supportive pillow.
Just noticed around Granby, you cannot win at the moment. The M4 outbound heavy, Parramatta Road heavy, and also the Great Western Highway heavy. We've got a north-facing truck heading past Green Valley on Cowpasture Road, a little up from Green Valley Road. We've got Centenary Drive Clunky heading south through Homebush West, and the M7 is still very untidy south of Bungarraby. I'm Steve Carline with live and local traffic. Sydney's 2G.
Suffering from headaches, sore neck or snoring? The solution could be the world's best premium supportive spinal ease pillow. Order now at spinaleze.com.au.
Well, Andrew says on the text line, how can an employer be responsible for the stupidity of a person who chooses to work in an environment controlled by the employee? Well, Andrew, I tend to agree with you. Especially if it gets to workers' comp by where the taxpayer is fronting it, like iCare or something, absolutely shouldn't be able to be claimed. Looks like it can be, though. What do you make of it? 131873. Now, if you put a few kegs on over winter, don't get too disheartened. You just need the Man Shake. It is weight loss that works. It's available in 9 different flavours, from vanilla right through to choc honeycomb. The Man Shake is tasty, nutritious and filling. Won't get bored either. Just replace 2 meals a day with 2 shakes. And then it's dinner as normal. Simple, convenient and highly effective. The Man Shake has helped more than 2 million Australians shake the weight. The Man Shake is also packed with protein and is a 5-star health rated, and it only costs $2.49 a meal. It's pretty cheap, right? $2.49 a meal. So if you really want to lose that weight, it's as simple as going to themanshake.com.au. That is themanshake.com.au for weight loss that works.
Kia's most awarded SUV just got better with the refined 7-seat Kia Sorento. Now with a dual 12.3-inch panoramic display and Kia Connect technology. The Kia Sorento. Visit kia.com.au to find out more.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
The working life. You wake up, you work, you get paid. Repeat. Until one day, you find a whole new rhythm like
learning to tango.
Going travelling.
Or spending time with the grandkids.
Aware Super helps you find your rhythm of retirement. That's super helpful. Consider if Aware Super is right for you and the PDS and D&D on our website at aware.com.au.
Amber has the answer this spring with unbeatable savings like Talatine pavers $69, limestone pavers $59, porcelain pavers $49, or concrete pavers just $9 each. Hurry, in-store or online.
Amber has the answer.
Are you injured and struggling to navigate the complex world of a workers' compensation claim? With over 50 years of experience, Bryden's Lawyers is the name you can trust. Our team of dedicated professionals understand the challenges faced by injured workers and will guide you through every step of the process. Whether it's a workplace accident, repetitive strain injury, or occupational disease, Bryden's Lawyers will fight to ensure you receive the compensation you deserve. Call Bryden's Lawyers today on 1800 848 848.
The legendary figure skating duo return for their last ever Australian tour. Torval and Dean, Our Last Dance. New show now added Sunday, June 22 at Kudos Bank Arena. Get tickets at the special price of $85 with code Torval and Dean. On sale now at Ticketek. Tour details at tegdating.com.
You're listening to Drive on 2GB. Great things are happening every minute on NBN. With lightning fast speeds, you won't miss a thing.
It's 13 minutes to 4. Now, a major crackdown on organised crime has seen a dual US-Mexican national arrested and charged with drug supply as well as manufacturing. This is in our southwest. So they found a lab, and in that lab, it was valued at about $500,000 as part of Strike Force Mid-Tier. This is an operation launched by the State Crime Command's Organised Crime Squad as well as Border Force, and they seized 1.1 kilograms of methamphetamine, 860 grams of liquid meth, and 4.4 kilograms of a cutting agent. So the suspect, a US-Mexican national, has been refused bail. He will face court today, 131873. Now, this caught my eye. It was in the ABC, but Australia faces a growing environmental threat from lithium-ion batteries, with only 10% currently being recycled. So experts are saying that the remaining batteries, the ones found in your e-scooters and your e-bikes and other electronics, well, they're ending up in landfills, causing fire risks and toxic leaks as well. So I think we've got 137,000 tonnes of battery waste coming our way by 2035. That is a lot. That is a big number. And if we're only recycling 10% of our lithium-ion batteries, then we need to do much, much better, especially if we're seeing them just effectively combust and spark fires here, there and everywhere. If they're underneath landfill and they do the same thing, well, who knows the carnage it could cause, right? But we've got the Melbourne Cup this time next week. We will
please mind the speed.
Just after the Melbourne Cup on it, so 48 minutes after the Melbourne Cup this time next week. And there's a little bit of news. The Irish horse, Jan Bruegel,
goes straight
on. One of the pre-race favourites. It's been withdrawn from the race. So this is on veterinary advice, and it's a steward's report from Racing Victoria. It says Jan Bruegel, which has been brought out from Ireland to race in the Melbourne Cup, was at a heightened risk of injury following compulsory CT scans. So 3 p.m, it's on Channel 9 too. It is on Channel 9 for the first time in many, many years. Of course, the owner of this radio station. 3 p.m. next Tuesday. And Jan Bruegel, European starts, won all 4 starts in his short career, has been taken out of the Cup field today. So very disappointing, of course, for all of the connections. It's a big effort bringing horses out from Ireland and Europe and America and Japan, getting them here, getting them settled, only for a CT scan. It's good that they're doing them too, Racing Victoria. A CT scan's ruled him out, unfortunately, 131873.
work from your property. So, I just think we've sort of lost our way a little bit with all this working at home stuff.
Yeah, sure. Glenn, with you, you obviously know a fair bit about this. Would many people's home offices be compliant with OH&S laws as they stand at the moment?
I doubt it. Look, what about tag testing of all your appliances, like your computer and your laptop and all those things?
No one's doing that.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be compliant at all, mate. There'd be zero compliance, and there probably wouldn't even be a first aid kit there.
Go straight on.
So it's a non-compliant workplace, and the insurance companies can fight the hell out of that. This probably opened a whole can of worms.
Yeah, well, Glenn, in my view, they shouldn't. If you're working from home and you hurt yourself, you're at home. You're not entitled to workers' comp. Anyway, good on you, Glenn. I appreciate that. Gavin's at Narrabeen. Hello, Gavin.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. What do you think?
Yeah, good. That last caller stole my thunder, because could you imagine if everyone that worked from home allowed their employer into their personal home for a risk assessment and to assess whether or not their home is a fit, habitable place for the workplace? That's something for your employer to determine, not for anyone else. And to be sued or to have a claim for the workers' comp claim, not only above that, as soon as you get one, all your premium goes skyrocketing with workers' comp premium as an employer. So I 100% disagree with that whole judgment, and I think they should relook at it, and I think it's an absolute joke, to be honest with you.
Good on you, Gavin. I really appreciate your call, and I had never even thought about having a compliant or non-compliant workplace under, occupational health and safety rules, but it makes perfect sense. And there's no way my home would be compliant to OH&S rules. Not that I work from home, but I wouldn't be asking for workers' comp if I stubbed my toe on the chair and broke it. And some people just try anything on, don't they? Elizabeth is at Preston's. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi. Yeah, completely agree with callers. Won't cover be possibly to the homeowner or occupier for creating an unsafe work environment.
Well, could you imagine that? Because what happens if you're sitting there and you seriously hurt yourself at home just through a freak accident?
Exit right.
All of a sudden, and you're working from home, are you entitled to this monstrous payout that you would be if you were at home, if you were in the office?
Well, you could get the payout, then you're sued for creating that unsafe work environment because it was, again, no risk assessment. Coming from a job where everything is risk assessment, you can all leave it out. No point in it at all.
Good on you, Elizabeth. I appreciate your call. You have a good afternoon. 131873. It's 5 to 4.
Traffic. Enhance your load carrying power with Better's GVM Plus upgrade kit.
A north-facing truck and car crash at Green Valley on Cow Pasture Road. That's
money plan in the CommBank app. One of many simple tools from CommBank to help manage your money. And they just won CanStar's Bank of the Year award for Best Digital Banking for the 15th year in a row. Conditions apply when using the CommBank app.
Find everything you need to trick or treat at Coles. Like half price on Cadbury share packs, 120 to 180 grams, now just $3. Get great value hands down for Halloween at Coles. Offer ends 5 November.
Does your garden hose kink, tangle and drive you mad? Then you need to order the famous Aussie Hoses retractable garden hose, delivered and fully installed by Aussie Hoses. This 20-metre hose is kink resistant with automatic retraction and comes with a 2-year warranty. Call and mention this station and you'll get the 20-metre auto retractable garden hose delivered and installed for just $179. That's $100 off. Call now 1300 384 165 or see AussieHoses.com.au.
Great things happening every minute on NBN.
At 6:01 a.m., you're in a video call for your cybersecurity startup with people on the other side of the country.
At 12:37 p.m, you're in a live lecture learning about smart farming for your agricultural degree.
At 8:48 p.m, you're battling songs online with people in Spain, Mexico and Canada.
What great thing will you do next with NBN?
Drive on 2GB. Play Ready, Set, Peel and Win at Shell Coles Express and Shell Ready Express with over $46 million in prizes up for grabs. T's and C's apply.
4 o'clock news with Rhiannon Solomon Marin is coming up very shortly. Did you see Nick Kyrgios's latest statement? I'll play them to you after the news. But Nick Kyrgios, well, he's gone on a podcast with Louis Theroux, who I reckon's phenomenal. And he's aired some very controversial opinions, specifically on whether or not the pyramids were built by aliens and the world may be flat, according to Nick Kyrgios. Anyway, he's a conspiracy theorist. I'll play you those comments coming up after the 4 o'clock news. I'll also speak to Tony Webber. He's from the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries, and there are some major discounts on electric vehicles at the moment. I'm talking $25,000 discounts on Peugeots, $15,000 discounts on Nissans. Why all of a sudden are our EVs so much cheaper?
Save on hundreds of business essentials with Officeworks for Business. Exclusions apply. Sydney's 2GB 873.
In this bulletin, the nation's COVID report card emergency unfolds at a Melbourne school and a woman thanks her rescuers. It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Rhiannon Solomon Marin. The opposition is dismissing an inquiry into Australia's handling of COVID-19 as nothing more than a political hit job. The report found the public were left confused and distrust developed due to the lack of a coordinated national response to the pandemic. It highlighted a lack of consistency and rationale when it came to border closures and argues for greater transparency in future pandemic responses. Liberal leader Peter Dutton says the previous coalition government kept Australians safe during a challenging period in history.
If Labor had their way at a federal level, there would have been an extra $81 billion that was spent. We know that they were opposed to JobKeeper, they were for it. We saved lives and we saved livelihoods.
Emergency crews have been called to a primary school in Melbourne where a car has reportedly hit students. It's understood a number of children have been injured at Hawthorn East after the vehicle crashed through a fence. Tasmania's salmon industry remains in limbo after a decision on an endangered fish in Macquarie Harbour was delayed until after the next
She was eventually brought to safety but suffered a spine fracture and bad grazing. The 23-year-old says her rescuers were a great help throughout the entire ordeal.
They were making me trying to calm my nerves and stuff like that, and I'm just really glad that the people that were talking to me were there, because I probably would have gone a bit insane just listening to my own voice the whole time.
Also making news, the state's tenants' advice and advocacy services are receiving a $4 million funding boost from the government as part of its new rental measures, and Myer has signed a near $1 million deal to acquire a suite of brands, including Just Jeans, JJ's, Portman's and Dotty. To finance just before the close, the All Ords is trading up 30 points at 85.08. $1 Australian is buying 65.64 US cents.
Wherever you go, take the stories that matter with you. Download the 2GB app now. Your city, your station, Sydney's 2GB.
His contract was terminated by Rugby Australia in ugly circumstances, but Israel Folau has helped deliver the sport its newest star. Former Rooster Joseph Smiley saying he looked up to Folau as a kid and is the reason he wanted to play for the Wallabies.
I actually watched the 2013, watched the Lions tour, and I still remember to this day, Israel Folau making his debut, and then the memories of sitting on the TV and watching that. It's always been such a dream of mine to put the Wallabies jersey on.
Manchester United has sacked its manager Eric Ten Hag, replacing him with Ruud van Nistelrooy on an interim basis. The Dodgers have beat the Yankees 4-2 in Game 3 of baseball's World Series to take a 3-0 series lead. In NBA action, Aussie Josh Giddey has scored a double-double for the Chicago Bulls, 12 points and 13 rebounds in their 126-123 win over the Grizzlies. And Paolo Banchero scored 50 points for the Magic in a 119-115 win over the Pacers. That's sport. I'm Adam Hawes.
It's 4:04. That's news and sport.
Australia's only hybrid truck, the Hino 300 series hybrid electric, delivers up to 20% fuel and emission savings. So with lower fuel consumption and reduced maintenance costs, you'll save more over the lifetime of your truck. Powered by self-charging hybrid technology, it's the smart choice for businesses looking to invest now and benefit well into the future. The Hino 300 series hybrid electric. Find out more at hino.com.au. That's another Hino advantage.
Traffic, 2GB on your phone. That's a smart move. Download the app now.
We've got a 5-car nose-to-tail pile-up on the M1 north of Joel's Bridge. No one hurt, thankfully, but 2 chevrons, people. Picton Road at Wilton has an east-facing crash approaching the Hume motorway. A truck and car crashed on Cowmaster Road, Green Valley, in northbound lane 1. Webs Creek Ferry still off the water, and from Boston to Northern Military Road, traffic's tripling westbound. Steve Carl on 2GB.
Spring has arrived at New Blinds, and we're celebrating with half price off our range of plantation shutters and Secure Force security products. Yes, 50% off, plus guaranteed pre-Christmas installation. And that's not all. New Blinds has also taken 40% off fabric and folding arm awnings, 40% off curtains, roller blinds, and zip screens, plus half price off plantation shutters and Secure Force security. The New Blinds Spring Sale. Book your free measure and quote today. Newblinds.com.au. Conditions apply.
NRMA Insurance. We're responding to the growing severity and frequency of floods, fires, high winds and hail events by establishing Help Nation, a countrywide initiative to help get people and communities prepared for extreme weather. We'll be showing people how to manage the unique risks in their area and how to ensure they're ready should the worst happen. Because that's what a help company would do. To find out how you can get prepared, go to nrma.com.au/helpnation. NRMA Insurance, a help company.
2GB weather, brought to you by NRMA Insurance, a help company.
Cloud clearing this afternoon. Easterly winds 15 to 20 kilometres an hour. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 15 to 25 degrees in the city, 12 to 30 in the west. Further ahead, showers developing Thursday and Friday. Right now in the city, it's 21 degrees. It's 23 in Bankstown and Campbelltown, 20 in Gosford and Lucas Heights. I'm Rhiannon Solomon Marin. There'll be more news at 4:30 on your news leader, Sydney's 2GB.
Now back to Drive with Chris O'Keefe on Sydney's 2GB.
It's 4:07. Thank you for your company on this Tuesday afternoon. 131873, our open line number. Our email address is drive@2gb.com or the text line 0460 primary school. So this is Auburn South Primary School in Hawthorne East. And a Department of Education spokesperson in Victoria said the children struck by the car are believed to be injured. One with serious injuries. So the car has somehow managed to leave the road, gone straight through the primary school fence and hit a few kids. So terrible. So there are some being taken to hospital at the moment. It is chaotic in the area, as you can imagine. If we get any updates on those children's status and their condition, I will bring that to you, because I know it's in Melbourne, but that's just terrible. Car through the fence of a primary school. It's 4:09. Now, tennis champion Nick Kyrgios is back in the headlines today. And Kyrgios has made some seriously strange comments. And he appeared as a guest on the Louis Theroux podcast. And Louis Theroux is sort of a journalist come documentary maker. He's very good. But they've delved in some pretty weird territory. And it turns out that Nick Kyrgios doesn't think that humans built the pyramids.
You don't think the pyramids were built by humans?
No, I don't. Impossible. Do you?
Definitely.
How so?
Well, as opposed to who? I mean, I just think they rolled huge blocks around on logs.
That's
right?
insanity. The fact that, how's that possible? They got every measurement correct and they're all aligned, and they did it with rolling large stones on logs is an insane statement. Why are the doors so big? Like, what? Who needs to walk through the doors if they're that big?
Recompute.
I don't know. I don't know who it was. I just don't think that we were capable.
Go straight on.
Listen, Nick Kyrgios, he's not real big on the moon
I'll find a
landing
new
either.
route.
What about landing on the moon?
I have my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, obviously, I think we landed on the moon, as in humans.
Who landed on the moon? Do you think that the Americans did first?
Is that a trick question?
I'm just asking you.
Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and the other guys whose names we've forgotten.
Okay. I just think, like, it was interesting the Americans did it first because they had not one successful rocket that ever took off, and then all of a sudden they were on the moon. You can read about it. They had not one successful rocket take off, and then all of a sudden they were just on the moon.
Anyway, so no moon landing. Humans had nothing to do with the pyramids. And finally, Nick Kyrgios, not convinced the Earth is round.
Well, the Earth is
round. You go first. You go first.
The Earth is round. It's round.
It's round.
Yeah. It's a globe.
I'd probably be inclined to saying it's round, but I'm also not surprised if it was the other thing either. Maybe we need to have a beer and have this off record.
Oh, Nick, just play some tennis, bro. Seriously, just play some tennis. We haven't seen you do it for a while. Maybe the Australian Open might be a good chance to hit some tennis balls, some volleys, some smashes, whatever it is, and leave the pyramid building, the moon landing, and the flat earthing to those in the deep, dark corners of the internet.
Live, local, and only on 2GB. It's Drive with Chris O'Keefe.
Now, have you had a look at some of the prices of electric vehicles recently? Because they are getting a hell of a lot cheaper. And you may be even thinking about getting an electric car. Now, the main reason they're getting cheaper is because a lot of these newer Chinese brands are forcing prices to be discounted like crazy.
And then exit.
So, for example, since January, the price of a GWM Haval, that's dropped by over 25%. Similar story, MG4 Excite 51, that's had a price cut of around 26%. Now costs just under $31,000. And many of the traditional European and American brands, to compete, have had to slash their costs. Not quite to the same extent, but still, the discounts are significant. So you've got Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz. They are, on average, 5% cheaper than they were last year. Even the price of a Tesla Model 3 has dropped from $81,000 to $74,000. I wonder if that means more people will end up buying electric cars, because one of the big problems with them were they're just too expensive. So maybe these cheaper Chinese brands forcing the market down is a good thing for the future of electric cars. I don't know. They still don't go far enough for me and aren't charging quick enough either. But Tony Webber is the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industry spokesperson. He's on the line for us. G'day, Tony.
Good afternoon, Chris.
What is the purpose of... So is it effectively there's cheaper EVs coming into the country, so the other brands are looking at that and saying, to stay competitive, we've got to drop to?
Well, absolutely. Australia is an incredibly competitive market without tariff and non-tariff barriers. So it changes the market in Australia reacts to that, but you have to really look at what's driving. And the reality is that around the world, the supply of EVs is increasing, but demand, especially in Western markets, is flat at best.
So you're saying there's just an oversupply of electric vehicles in the market?
Well, there's a lot more electric vehicles in the market than what we had this discussion 18 months ago, but demand hasn't increased, so there is a supply there that needs to find homes.
And the easiest way to do that is to make them cheaper, I'm sure.
Well, that's right. That's one way to move product is to reduce prices.
And just on the Chinese electric vehicles, from what you're understanding, are they good quality cars?
Yeah, absolutely. The Chinese market is very sophisticated. They produce high-quality vehicles, and they're moving those products around the world. Obviously, we've seen recently tariffs go on those products in the US and through the European market. So that changed the dynamics of those markets, but we don't have those issues in Australia.
Okay, I know that your colleague at the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries and the Mitsubishi CEO, Sean Westcott, he said that the excess supply of electric vehicles will mean that some suppliers simply won't survive the bloodbath. Do you agree with him?
Oh, listen, I think it's going to be an incredibly competitive market going forward. Having said that, Australia's had a competitive market for decades. We're just seeing more competition coming into the market, and at some point, it's going to be challenging for all those suppliers in the market. There's no doubt about that.
Where do you think we are with in terms of electric vehicles and Australia? Do you think that there is still a reluctance more broadly for a generalised take-up of EVs, given our geography and given the technology as it stands today?
Yeah, well, I think, obviously, a lot of discussion about the uptake of EVs in Australia and elsewhere in the world focuses on what the government's doing and what the industry's doing. But the third really important element in that discussion is the consumer. So the consumer looks at the total cost of ownership, which is not just the purchase price, but the resale price, how much insurance is, maintenance and fuel costs. They also look at vehicle preference. And this is a really important point. Most EVs sold around the world are a few minor categories, specifically the passenger medium segment and the SUV medium segment. So if you look at that segment, that passenger medium segment, almost 50% of sales in that segment in Australia are EVs. That's only 5% of the Australian market. The challenge is getting into those segments like large SUVs and like commercials, where the penetration is incredibly low at the moment.
Hey Tony, just really quickly, something that I don't hear a lot of explain how they can fix it. And they do all this without digging up your backyard. That's the Drain Man difference. So if you've got any problems with your toilets, sinks, showers, baths, stormwater drains getting blocked or gurgling, there's only one man to call for good old-fashioned service, and that is the Drain Man. Write this number down, 1-800-843-372. 1-800-843-372. Stick it on your fridge or visit thedrainman.com.au.
Play Ready, Set, Peel and Win at Shell Pulse Express and Shell Ready Express. There's over $46 million in prizes up for grabs, including cash, Shell fuel, holidays and millions of free products. 1 in 5 game cards wins. Spend $10 or more on eligible fuel or in-store on one transaction for your chance to play. TNCs apply. Australian residents 16 plus. Ends December 4. See readyexpress.com.au/win and keep your receipts and game cards. NSWTP/0366.
You need to buy a bigger place.
What about your equity, darling?
Don't overextend yourself.
Dream big.
Make sure you know your limit.
Buy before you sell.
Renovate.
Investment property.
Always sell before you buy.
You need a bigger place.
Deciding on your next property move can be
Upsize. Investment property.
overwhelming. An ANZ home loan specialist can help you navigate your options so you can get to a good place. Search ANZ home loans today. ANZ does not provide personal financial advice or quality review ANZ home loan options.
Members save more at 7-Eleven. Pick up a regular coffee with your choice of milk, including oat or soy, at selected stores. Just $1.50 when you scan the My 7-Eleven app. 7-Eleven, wonderfully easier. T's and C's apply. Introducing Officeworks for Business. Sign up for a business account to save 5% on hundreds of essentials plus free standard metro delivery over $65. With over 170 stores, we're there when you need us. Search Officeworks for Business. Exclusions apply.
Hello, I'm Peter Overton. Tonight in 9 News at 6, diamonds, pearls and Rolex watches see the spoils of Australia's biggest tax fraud and the world's first at-home fertility test for men. Don't worry, it's the news. Start over on 9 now, as soon as you're home.
Ever looked at your car and thought it's time to go electric? Now you can. Pick up a new Hyundai Kona Electric, Ioniq 6, Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 5N and enjoy your choice of a free EV wall charger or a $1,500 charge voucher. Plus, up to 4 years of free scheduled maintenance servicing. Visit your Hyundai dealer today. T's and C's and exclusions at hyundai.com.au.
Drive onto GB thanks to Dental Boutique, the home of smile makeovers. Sydney CBD and Chatswood. Smile proud at dentalboutique.com.au.
22 past 4, 131873, the open line number. Well, with the Americans going to the polls this time next week, I want to have a bit of a chat about what a Trump or Harris presidency would mean for the Australian economy. Now, the Treasury and Reserve Bank have started making contingency plans if there is economic fallout from either result. So economists reckon that inflation is a risk no matter who wins, either Trump or Harris. So Donald Trump has promised to cut taxes, impose tariffs, throw out illegal workers, all of which will likely increase prices, according to some economists. Kamala Harris, meanwhile, said she will spend more on lower and middle income workers and provide $25,000 in grants to first home buyers, which of course is likely to have an inflationary impact. But the major impact to Australia and more broadly the world would come from tariffs. Now, Trump has threatened big tariffs of up to 60% on China and 10% on all other trading partners. Now, these are implemented and other countries retaliate. It could lead to a global recession, according to the Productivity Commission. So they estimate that tariffs could result in economic output decreasing by 1% every year, and an Australian household on a median income will be worse off by about $1,500 a year. So Treasury is finding it difficult to prepare for this because there is no timeline for when the tariffs or tax cuts would be implemented. But you've got to remember, Donald Trump threatened similar tariffs. He did whack a whole bunch on last time. But Australia was immune. It was Malcolm Turnbull who was able to negotiate with Donald Trump, as well as Joe Hockey when he was the ambassador in Washington, D.C. They ensured that Trump was able to exempt Australia from his planned tariffs on our steel and aluminium. So hopefully the same happens again, given we are so enmeshed with the alliance and AUKUS and everything else. But with Donald Trump, he just holding their breath as to what he may or may not do. I still think he'll probably win, to be honest. Having looked at all the polls and the Electoral College and the important states, I think that this time next week we'll be talking about a Trump presidency, Trump 2.0.
Let's find a new route.
What you make of that, I don't know. Whether we really need to be afraid of it, I'm not quite sure.
Rerouting.
It wasn't all that scary. Last time round, was it? 131873.
Please, make a U-turn
If it's
when
happening in
possible.
Sydney, you'll hear it on Drive on 2GB.
Let's
Just on the
find a
electric
new route.
vehicles, Keith's at Long Jetty. Hello, Keith.
Turn left.
Keith's not there. Peter's at Moss Vale. Hello, Peter.
Oh, g'day, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What do you think of them?
Well, look, firstly, hybrids make infinite more sense. One, you don't have to plug them in. Well, the majority of them. There are some plug-in hybrids, but they're not as popular for the same reason. You have to plug them in. And with electric cars, I was listening to an interview. It was on 2GB, probably in the last month or two, interviewing a guy called Paul Cover, who you may have heard of, very well-respected motoring journalist. And he said that vehicle wholesalers will not touch electric vehicles because they can't get rid of them. The resale value is horrendous. And that's the prime reason I would never touch one, because in 3 or 4 years' time, you may want to trade it in, or you're going to be doing your backside financially.
Absolutely.
And a $35,000 electric MG in 3 years will be worth 10 grand.
And Peter, it's interesting, and I, as I said before the break, I've got family members of mine who are in the car game, and for years they've said you can't. They've got Teslas and everything, but a second-hand electric car, almost impossible to sell.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So
good on you, Peter. You have a good afternoon. Keith's at Long Jetty. Hello, Keith.
Yeah, 100% agree with that guy. But I was waiting for you to ask the guy, how would you go if you had an electric car in Broken Hill at the moment?
Yeah.
No guarantee of power.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to plug into a generator like everyone else. So the irony would be you would be charging your Tesla with diesel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And I don't know whether you heard Dick Smith on Chris Kenny last night on Sky, but
no, I didn't. What did he say?
He said it's electronically impossible to, because they've got solar panels, wind turbines, and a $650 million battery, and they couldn't use any of them to make up for the 7 towers that went over, because they need baseload power, like you need 50 cycles per second to run the wind and solar, because they can't run down the power lines without that 50 cycles per second, and that's the major problem with wind and solar at the moment, you know.
Yeah.
And plus, apparently it happened in South Australia as well. Anyway, let you go.
Good on you, Keith. Appreciate that. Well done. Dean's at Botany. Hello, Dean.
Yeah, g'day, Chris. Look, EVs are coming down because they're rubbish. Everyone who has one, they can't get rid of them. So what they're trying to do is bring in the Chinese cheap cars at a low cost to see if anyone wants to buy them. But at the end of the day, they're rubbish as well, and no one's going to buy them.
Well, Dean, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be ultimately up to the market, right? There are at the point now, if you're looking sort of, $30,000, $31,000, $32,000 for an electric car, it is at the point now where it's probably affordable. It still doesn't fix the problem that it takes too long to charge them, in my opinion. And it also, they don't run far enough before you need to recharge them. And I think for a country like Australia, with the geography we have, that is a challenge for all electric vehicle manufacturers. For some people, it's cool. They live in the inner city. They're happy to drive a Tesla around because they've got their garage. They can plug it in overnight, and they only use the EVs as a runaround. For most people who are on the roads for long periods of time, or would like to drive to the country or down or up the coast or whatever it may be, it's just not practical for them, or they're not ready to take the jump. And I just don't see, I haven't seen any proof to show me that Australia will be falling in love with EVs just yet. 131873. Well, I thought this was really nice. So Adele was in tears as she shared a very emotional moment with Celine Dion. Now, this is in Las Vegas. And Adele said she couldn't hold back her tears as she embraced Celine Dion after spotting her in the audience at her Las Vegas residency. And this is at Caesar's Palace at the Colosseum. And the pair shared a hug, and Dion then kissed the When We Were Young singer's hands before they whispered to one another, and she looked a bit teary too. Celine Dion. So, Dion was one of Adele's favourite people of all time and heroes to Adele. And, of course, Adele is coming to an end of her residency and she says she won't be singing much anymore or maybe ever again. So, for her, clearly an emotional time seeing her hero, Celine Dion, in the audience. It's lovely if you get a chance to check it out.
Update. SumUp is your payment partner for easy, on-the-spot sales paid directly into your bank account at Harvey Norman now.
In the newsroom, Rhiannon Solomon Marin. G'day.
G'day, Chris. 5 students have been injured after a car crashed through a fence at a primary school in Melbourne's inner east. One child is in a critical condition and the driver has been arrested. A report into Australia's response to COVID-19 has found overall federal and state governments did their best in trying circumstances, but there were many issues which were badly handled. Ku-ring-gai Council is taking the state government to court over its plans to overhaul density limits. 45-storey apartment blocks could be squeezed into a small area there if council agrees to the transport-oriented development scheme. And a woman who police allege was the driver involved in the theft of more than 60,000 limited edition Bluey coins has been refused bail in court. In sports, Sydney FC's women's team has been handed the keys to the city by Lord Mayor Clover Moore. The honour is to acknowledge their recent A-League Grand Final victory and 5th championship, as well as their role in advancing women's sports. And Chris, there'll be more news at 5.
Thank you, Ree. 131873, our open line number. Coming up after the break, have you seen more graffiti than you're used to? Well, supposedly there's been a 288% surge in graffiti reports in our western suburbs. There's a new app you can now download to take a photo of the graffiti and you can send that photo directly to whoever is responsible for cleaning it up. It's fascinating. We'll talk to the founder next.
Traffic. You're never alone with the 2GB app on your phone. Download now.
The M1 multiple vehicle crash at Joel's Bridge is now cleared. Traffic, though, still grim from south of the Hawkesbury. 2 crashes, Picton Road at Wilton. 1 truck and car crash near Pembroke Parade, just clearing up now. The other crash is just near the Hume eastbound. Feversham and Parramatta Roads has some breakdown westbound near West Street, and you can expect other slow points on Parramatta Road at Burwood and Auburn. I'm Steve Cartline.
Deb Knight here, and on Money News, we take a fresh look at the stories that impact you and your finances. So join me for Money News Monday to Thursday from 7 on 2GB.
Yep, looks like a blockage. What's up? Invoices backing up? Take payments on the spot with SumUp. SumUp is the perfect payment partner for businesses on the road, like plumbing, add call-out fees, after-hour rates, with all payments flowing straight into your account. When business is on the up, there you go, pipes clear. You want a partner that keeps your bottom line running smoothly. SumUp, your payment partner. Up at Harvey Norman now.
In 200 metres, head east toward Surrey Hills and arrive at Central Studio Apartments. Or head south in 400 metres for properties at the same price, with rooms, a bedroom and a living room. Somewhere to sleep and somewhere to live, separated. Oh, that's living room. Find your next home with recently sold prices on Domain. Know what we know.
I'll be riding short. The Subaru October demonstrator event is now on, and your next adventure is within reach with a $750 fuel card free across selected demonstrator models. Subaru for a world discovered. T's and C's apply.
A Kogan monitor is just like a monitor. Both monitors do very similar monitor things, but with slightly different little logos, cords, and stands. One's a Kogan 34-inch curved ultra-wide monitor. The other monitor has a price you won't be able to stand. Get what you want for less. Shop Kogan.com today. Kogan.com. Clickin' awesome.
Olsen's Farewell's bespoke approach makes every
Farewell Personal and Fitting. With 3 venues south of the harbour, Olsen's Farewells brings compassion and uniqueness to every service. Start planning your way today. olsensfarewells.com.au.
Keep left and then turn left.
Hamilton must leave Sydney 25 January. The Hamilton Say Goodbye sale is on now. Right now, you can book your Hamilton tickets for just $79.
Ready to roll.
Only until midnight tomorrow. Offer
Keep
only
left
available via
and then turn
hamiltonmusical.com.au. It's time to take that shot. Terms and
Turn
conditions
left.
apply.
All right, hold still.
This is the sound of an unnecessary bowl cut.
Whoa, wait. Check money plan. I need to trim the budget that much.
Phew.
There's better tools to help you budget, like Money Plan in the CommBank app. One of many simple tools from CommBank to help manage your money. And they just won CanStar's Bank of the Year award for Best Digital Banking for the 15th year in a row. Conditions apply when using the CommBank app.
Drive onto GB thanks to Dental Boutique, the home of smile makeovers. Sydney CBD and Chatswood. Smile proud at dentalboutique.com.au.
25 to 5, 131873. Now, have you noticed a whole bunch more graffiti near you lately? Because there has been a surge in offensive and political graffiti in Sydney. Not a good look either. So data from an app called Snap Send Solve shows some of the worst areas. So you've got places like Liverpool, Blacktown, Penrith, Campbelltown, Blue Mountains. They've all seen a 288% increase in graffiti reports since last year. It's a lot, isn't it? Vandalism is a problem too, and that's things like broken bus shelters, knocked down street signs. And you've seen Bayside, Burwood, Canada Bay, the Inner West and Sutherland with a 59% increase in vandalism reports. 131873, what's it like in your suburb? Have you noticed an uptick in graffiti or vandalism? Just willful stuff that's, I just find it gratuitous and really, really selfish. The people who vandalise people's properties. There's a place up the road from me. These poor people have bought this coffee shop, and every time they paint it over, it would only be 24, 48 hours later, it's graffitied again. And they're between a rock and a hard place because they own it, so they're constantly forking out to fix it. But it doesn't matter how many times they fix it, it gets graffitied one more time, and again, and again, and again. Really unfair. Well, Danny Gorrell is the founder and the CEO of Snap Send Solve, and he's on the line. G'day, Danny.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm all right. So 288% increase. It's a lot. How did you quantify it?
Well, so Snap Send Solve is an app that the community use to report common issues, graffiti, vandalism is one of them. But there's a heap of other things that we take reports on. I just checked the stats. It looks like there'll be about 300,000 reports in New South Wales this year alone. So we have obviously a category of reporting which is graffiti, and we look at the Sydney metro area. We sort of break it down into different regions, and as you said, there's been a big spike in reports to the West region, 288%. And we haven't given you the data, but anecdotally there is more offensive graffiti, as you rightly point out. I think we're seeing more, there's a lot more kind of political activism, a lot more racist graffiti. We're just seeing graffiti in more places more often. The stuff that really upsets me the most is the graffiti you see in these beautiful playgrounds that councils have just created. And someone comes along and graffitis a slide or graffitis a wall, and it's offensive by nature, and certainly it's the stuff you don't want
straight on
to see. The good news, I guess, is, Chris, we track the resolution rates, and there has been a real uptick in the authorities fixing these problems.
Before we get to that, let's just rewind a little. So if I'm on Snap and Send and Solve, and I'm in Liverpool or Blacktown, and I see some offensive graffiti, I go, I can do what? I can take a photo, and then what happens?
Yeah, so it's a free. So you download the app. It's a free app. You take a photo. We automatically know where you are based on your photo, your location, and so we know that in that area, if the graffiti is on council-related issues, we package that up and we send it across to the relevant council. But often graffiti, as you know, is on post boxes or phone boxes or other things. And if you choose graffiti Australia Post, for example, we'll send that to Australia Post to deal with. So we send the graffiti to the
turn
about
left.
25 to 27 days.
Any council's better than others?
Look, every council is different, and it depends on the sort of stats that we're measuring. So, dump rubbish and graffiti tend to be much higher. Illegal parking tends to be a little bit lower because they're just harder issues to deal with. But it certainly varies. There are some councils, I think, that lean into customer experience, that want to provide a great customer experience, and other councils that are a little bit sort of slower in moving in that direction.
What about Transport for New South Wales? So if it's on trains, that's one of the
yeah, they receive reports as well. Yeah, we have a large number of solvers on the platform.
Okay. When it comes to the vandalism, I've noticed. You go to child, because I've got a 2.5-year-old. I go to kids' playgrounds all the time.
Yeah.
And you notice that some are better than others. But what do you think goes? And obviously, I don't know if you've contemplated this or not. But what goes through someone's head? Do you think to graffiti kids' playgrounds, or go and deliberately damage it? I saw it the other day where someone set fire to one of the plastic sort of slides there. I just thought, why would you do that?
I completely agree with you. I think it goes to people feel maybe disempowered, disenfranchised, and they feel like that if they graffiti a kid's playground, that's them having their say, being heard, and I think it's a general frustration in the community, and that's why we see more graffiti. It's interesting, Chris, you say
probiotic mouthwash.
I'll
With
find a
balance
new
meets freshness. It's available now at all major pharmacies.
Want to download fuel savings? Get the My 7-Eleven app. Lock in our best local fuel price for up to 7 days, and you could save up to 25 cents per litre. You've got a deal at 7-Eleven. T's and C's apply. Savings not guaranteed. Visit 711.com.au for details.
In 200 metres, head east toward Bondi and arrive at Beachside Studio Apartments. Or head south in 400 metres for properties at the same price, with rooms, a bedroom and a living room. Somewhere to sleep and somewhere to live, separated. Oh, that's living room. Find your next home with recently sold prices on Domain. Know what we know.
Hello, I'm Peter Overton. Tonight in 9 News at 6, diamonds, pearls and Rolex watches. See the spoils of Australia's biggest tax fraud and the world first at-home fertility test for men. Don't worry, you won't miss the news. Start over on 9 now, as soon as you're home.
Listen carefully. You're hearing the last of the legendary Ram V8s. Get one before they're all gone. Run out deals are on now. So see your Ram dealer today.
There's nothing like the smell of a freshly laid lawn. Especially beautiful, low-maintenance Kakadu or Sir Walter Buffalo turf from Flower Power. And there's nothing like the smell of a freshly fertilised lawn. Feed yours with Supergrow Buffalo lawn food. $19.99 for 4 kilos. Watch it grow ashen green. And add lawn top dressing to keep your soil nutrient-rich. Just $9.99 for 25 litres. Everything you need for the perfect lawn is in-store and online at Flower Power, the garden people.
Drive onto GB thanks to Dental Boutique, the home of smile makeovers. Sydney CBD and Chatswood. Smile proud at dentalboutique.com.au.
We'll cross the Broken Hill next. The news is up now.
Save on hundreds of business essentials with Officeworks for Business. Exclusions apply. Sydney's 2GB 873.
In this bulletin, children hurt in horror crash, the country's COVID shortfalls and alleged coin thief behind bars. It's 5 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Rhiannon Solomon Marin. A child is fighting for life and 4 others have been taken to hospital after being hit by a car at a school in Melbourne. The vehicle ploughed through a fence in Hawthorne East, hitting the group who'd been sitting on a bench at the time. The female driver has been arrested. Lucy's son goes to the school and says he's trying to process what happened.
Really shaken up. Yeah, we just walked home back to his grandparents' house because it's closer, so we just walked home and he's now trying to look at the news and try to uncover what's actually happened to his friend. It was their third recess after lunch. They do it at 2:30, and of course they were all out there and they actually witnessed it happen.
An inquiry into Australia's handling of COVID-19 caused distrust and confusion among the public due to the lack of a national response. Overall, the report found the country was able to get through the pandemic, but there should have been clearer guidelines, especially on issues like border closures. It also found people's mental health and human rights were overlooked and vaccine mandates were not well handled. Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers says the economic response didn't match the health response.
We saw some very good ideas badly implemented and poorly targeted.
years. Eddie Meyer, 9 News.
A woman charged over her alleged role in the theft of more than 60,000 limited edition Bluey coins from a Sydney warehouse has been refused bail in court. Christina Vale has been charged with 3 counts of aggravated break and enter and 1 count of disposing of property. Police allege she was the driver. Also making news, researchers are recommending at least half an hour of exercise each day to reduce the risk of a stroke. To finance, Your Lords has closed up 27 points at 85.05, the Aussie dollar buying 65 US cents.
It's about stories, about connection, conversations, and news you can trust. Your station, Sydney's 2GB.
Melbourne Cup Carnival hopefuls have taken part in track work at Flemington, including several trained by Chris Waller. He says a decision on whether Via Sistina takes part in the race that stops the nation will be made in the next couple of days.
We'll start discussions going through everything, absolutely everything. There's so many things to consider, from firstly their welfare and well-being, secondly Logitech she can run up to her best.
The Kiwis have made one change to their team for Saturday's must-win Pacific Championship test against Tonga.
worse position in terms of trust for our ability to respond to that pandemic than we were back at the start of 2020?
It's already, bled into the performance of our vaccination programs, including our childhood vaccination programs. So since the beginning of COVID in 2020, for example, you've seen a reduction of 7 or 8 percentage points in the participation in the whooping cough vaccination program for under 5s and the measles vaccination program for under 5s, which means that we're now well below herd immunity levels for those two really important diseases. So the erosion of trust has had very, very significant impacts on the community.
Isn't that sad? And to be honest, the only people that need to be blamed are Targi and members of the health establishment, because I know I'm getting emails saying that I'm lying about this, but I was in press conferences where people were told that being vaccinated stopped the spread. Didn't stop anything. And they may or may not have known that at the time. I don't think they did. I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any stretch of the imagination, but ultimately, if you look back on those 2 to 3 years, mandatory vaccinations were unnecessary. They did very little in our fight against COVID because the people who were mandatorily vaccinated ended up catching it anyway.
Get ready to turn left.
And now we've got a situation where the whole idea of a vaccine is under question. And I think that's really sad, because with polio and measles and all these vaccines that work so brilliantly, you're now seeing kids not being vaccinated against these diseases. Anyway, the report has also recommended that a new American-style Centre for Disease Control be established in Canberra. So the CDC, the Australia's version anyway, will receive $252 million in funding. And Treasurer Jim Chalmers told us what we already knew, that the pandemic also saw a serious economic impact, and there were mistakes made by the Morrison government that were inflationary. But I don't know why Jim Chalmers has even bothered saying that. Why politicise it? You had Peter Dutton, and you had Scott Morrison, and you had Josh Frydenberg flying by the seat of their pants, largely blind through this whole process, making decisions that they thought were best for the country. And they underwrote the economy because they thought they had to underwrite the economy, given we were locked inside our homes. So I think politicising it and saying it was inflationary and somehow having a crack at Scott Morrison and Josh Frydenberg and Peter Dutton, I think that is very, very short-sighted. 131873.
Opinions that matter. News you can trust. This is Drive on Sydney's 2GB.
Now, some good news out of Broken Hill this afternoon. It looks like people's power bills won't be issued to that part of the world for a little while. So the power bills to our far west will be delayed, and there will likely be some charges that will be waived altogether by the retailers too, given they have had this intermittent power issue now for the best part of 2 weeks almost. However, things are starting to stabilise somewhat. So Broken Hill and many of these towns have now managed to get 4 days straight of no blackouts. That's good news. Energy Minister Penny Sharp is on the line live from Broken Hill. Minister, thank you for your time.
Good to talk with you, Chris.
So you've written to these energy retailers, their response?
Look, I have written to them. I've got good news, which is that both Origin and Energy Australia so far have agreed to defer bills for a period of time. We're working through the issues around access to fixed charges. So I wrote them a letter the last couple of days, and they're responding, which I'm really pleased about. People, concerned about this, and we don't want to make it any harder for them.
Caution,
so
please mind the speed.
In terms of Broken Hill itself, 4 days in a row, no blackouts, fingers and toes crossed. Why have you managed to do that, or how have you managed to do that?
Well, it hasn't been me, Chris. It's been some very hard work from a lot of workers all over the state who've descended on this area to really get it going, both Transgrid and Essential Energy. Big shout out to them. These guys have been working. They're working across 24-hour shifts. They've come from everywhere. So they've been terrific. But look, the good news is that the 7 replacement poles are now up. They're restringing the line. We've been working towards the date of the 6th of November for the mains to come back on properly. We're very confident we'll have a good update tomorrow. I think that's going to be earlier by a few days. Really important obviously really important for people to have confidence that they're not going to be seeing any more blackouts and the lines
Go
back
straight
up.
on.
And there is some concern that there's been a lot of money, especially small businesses and even media, like the mines itself. There's money that they're foregone as a result of this power outage. Do their insurance policies cover this?
Look, I'm not across their insurance policy. I did meet with the 3 mines and spoke to the union today. And look, they're really just what they need to get going as quickly as possible is certainty that the mains are connected. The fact that that's coming on earlier means that there's over 500 to 600 people who are stood down at the moment. Getting them back on board has really been the priority. We're working with the feds on how we can support those who've been impacted, not just mining workers, by the way. There's also casual workers, hospitality workers that have been impacted. There's been more work to be done there, but I'm talking to Jenny McAllister and we're hoping to land that very soon. So, yeah, the mines have got a huge impact. They've also been really helpful. They've been actually helping get the generator going by providing some base load and helping keep the water down in those mines. They've been excellent.
Okay. Now, before I let you go, just very briefly, so you are on track now. When I say you, Transgrid is on track to connect the region to permanent power supply by the 6th of November. So what, next Wednesday?
Yes, well, as I said to you, we're very confident it's going to be earlier than that. We're hoping to give a real update so that the community know how long they need to come out if they need to, if they change over the generators and reconnect the mains. But we're very confident that it's going to be earlier than that.
Here we go.
With more information to come tomorrow as we're just working out all the details.
All right, all the best. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
That's the New South Wales Energy Minister there, Penny Sharp. So it looks like there has been significant resources deployed into our far west, Wilcannia, Menindee, Broken Hill, Cameron Corner. It's just good that they've got the attention they deserve. Elizabeth is on the Hume Highway. Elizabeth, you've seen something?
Oh, yeah, I was just on the Hume Highway heading towards Ingleburn, and I would say 3 of the black riot sort of four-wheel drives went past the police one, followed by at least 6 or 7 more undercover Land Cruisers, all with their sirens on flying down the pathway.
Okay, well, where was that roughly? The Brooks Road turn-off?
Yeah, I was approaching Brooks Road, but I don't think they got far. It looks like they were heading towards Campbelltown, but they were in a big hurry, and there was honestly 9 or 10 of them in a row.
I appreciate that. Brett's on the M5 before the Hume Highway. You saw the same thing, Brett. You're going the other way.
Yeah, correct. I was heading to the
Go straight on.
They were all flying straight up the M5 westbound. So again, in a rapid rate of speed.
All right, Brett. Well, we'll chase that up with the police, see if we can get some information on that. I appreciate it. Elizabeth, she's just won herself a $100 Visa gift card for our Tuesday tip, 131873.
First with the news, only in Sydney. It's Drive with Chris O'Keefe on 2GB.
Now, I just want to talk about the Anthony Albanese flight upgrade saga for a second. I haven't spoken much about it because I really don't see it as that big a deal. But I do agree with Peter Dutton that Anthony Albanese should refer himself to the National Anti-Corruption Commission and let them investigate it. If there's nothing to see here, then we can move on, because the NAC, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, is where this should be investigated. Because we've got that much going on in this country that we shouldn't be distracted by what I think is a largely marginal issue. Now, if a politician is flying for work and they receive an upgrade, that is not remarkable. And I was far, far more offended by Qantas spending hundreds of thousands of dollars paying for the Yes campaign to fly around Australia, when at the same time flights were being cancelled all over the place, bags were being lost, and COVID credits were impossible to use. That's what I was offended by. And I was offended that as a thank you, Anthony Albanese and Catherine King seemingly blocked Qatar from flying more frequently to Sydney and Melbourne. But I don't think that a poly flying business class is all that big a deal. And my question is this: what is the actual charge here against the Prime Minister? Is it, and it seems to me, that somehow people are trying to say that Albo's ability to discharge his public duty has been corrupted by his relationship with Alan Joyce? Is that it? If that is the charge, then the National Anti-Corruption Commission
and then
should
continue
investigate
straight
it.
on.
But no one's come out and said that. They're just saying that he shouldn't have solicited, potentially, upgrades from Qantas and personally from Alan Joyce. Now, again, Anthony Albanese needs to get his story straight. He needs to be able to stand there and clearly articulate what the hell has gone on. But ultimately, I think we're setting a very low bar for our politicians here, and it is an unachievable bar, if I'm honest. And I just want to, for 1 second, apply the same logic to Peter Dutton. So Peter Dutton flew to Perth for just a 1 hour trip to attend the 70th birthday party of mining billionaire Gina Rinehart. So it was an overnight round trip cross-country, and then he returned to Melbourne to campaign ahead of the Dunkley by-election. Now, he paid for that flight himself, but he charged us, the taxpayer, for that trip to Gina Rinehart's birthday, $6,000 for his staff to go. Mr. Dutton was also flown to another party to celebrate National Mining Day at the Pilbara mine of Gina Rinehart. Now, that flight to Peter Dutton, the leader of the opposition, the presumptive Prime Minister, was paid for by another billionaire rich lister, Tim Roberts, and his company has mining investments. And since then, the Liberal opposition has adopted a nuclear power policy, which was spruiked by Gina Rinehart in August of last year, as well as adopting the position of Hancock prospecting, that the threshold of income pensioners would be able to earn without losing payments should be increased. Again, a brainchild of Gina Rinehart. Now listen, all of those ideas are good ideas. And they're good ideas to throw into the national debate. And I couldn't give a single you-know-what if Peter Dutton has a relationship with one of the most significant business owners in Australia.
Go straight on.
To be honest, he should have one. And so should the Prime Minister. But you cannot think that it is outrageous or try to say that it is corrupt, that Albo got a flight upgrade, yet ignore Peter Dutton's relationship with Gina Rinehart. You just can't. It is the same logic. A perceived perk for a perceived political outcome. And I don't believe for 1 second that Peter Dutton, he is a man of honour and he is a man with a significant spine. So I wouldn't say that him going to Gina Rinehart's birthday party would influence his thinking on things. Of course not. Just how I wouldn't think that Anthony Albanese getting upgraded into business class would influence his. Now, there is reportage that Mr. Albanese potentially broke the Ministerial Code of Conduct in 2013. That is 11 years and 5 Prime Ministers ago. Seriously, is this the standard of our national political debate? It is equally as farcical as allegations in 2019 that Peter Dutton breached ministerial rules by failing to repay the taxpayer when they supposedly forked out to refurbish one of Peter Dutton's mobile office caravans. Who cares? Ultimately, it is for the Prime Minister to decide whether and when a minister should stand aside if that minister becomes the subject of an official investigation of alleged illegal or improper conduct. 1, there is no investigation. And 2, are we proposing that we retrospectively ask Julia Gillard about Albo maybe or maybe not asking Alan Joyce to upgrade his flight in 2013? Now, am I the only one seeing the absurdity in all this? And I truly think that Australians can be adults here, and we can put any dislike of Labor and Albo aside. You can criticise him for a lot, but if you think he is corrupt or something he has done is corrupt or whatever it may be, we've got the National Anti-Corruption Commission. So here's the number, 1300 489 844. 1300 489 844. Go and report it. And Anthony Albanese, as Peter Dutton said, should refer himself, because this is where it should be dealt with. Otherwise, can we please get on with things? 23 past 5.
Traffic for spinaleze.com.au, the world's best premium supportive pillow.
At Moorebank, we've had a truck and motorcycle together on Moorebank Avenue, close to Heathcote Road. A van break down on the Cumberland Highway at Wentworthville, pointing north at Darcy Road. And actually saying that, it's heavier along the Cumberland Highway, heading south into Smithfield. M5's dropping speed west of Beverly Hills to Milpera, and along the Hume Highway, speeds drop markedly through Villawood and through Steve Carline on 2GB.
Suffering from headaches, sore neck or snoring? The solution could be the world's world's best premium supportive Spinalese pillow. Order now at spinaleze.com.au.
It's 5:24, and for over 26 years, RSVP has been helping Australians find love, and they can help you too. If you found yourself single for the first time in years or decades, and you don't want to waste your time sifting through thousands of profiles, make a date with RSVP. RSVP matches go beyond superficial swiping. With RSVP's powerful search feature, you can choose the type of relationship you're looking for, your preferences in a partner, your interests, your hobbies, and a whole lot more. RSVP filters out daters who aren't suitable and handpicks matches that are perfectly suited to you. Download the app or visit rsvp.com.au and discover the difference with Australia's most trusted dating site.
There's nothing small about small business. It's the backbone of our economy and community. But running one isn't easy, and cybersecurity education is more important than ever, which is why CommBank offers in-branch seminars and cybersecurity training with the Cyber Wardens program to help keep your business CommBank safe. CommBank, backer of Business Yakka. Search CommBank Small Business today. Eligibility criteria applies.
Telstra Business Technology Centres offer expert solutions from a dedicated team to help you get what's best for your business. Talk to a Telstra Business Tech Advisor to find out more. Visit telstra.com/TBTC today.
Australia's only hybrid truck, the Hino 300 Series Hybrid Electric, delivers up to 20% fuel and emission savings. So with lower fuel consumption and reduced maintenance costs, you'll save more over the lifetime of your truck. Powered by self-charging hybrid technology, it's the